Win as one. EA Sports FIFA 21 sponsors Saturday Social.
North London derby, we've got to talk about it. It is tomorrow. It's Arsenal against Spurs. I know we're both very excited about that. So we're going to do something a little bit different now. We're going to look at this fixture because this fixture is very famous down the line. It's been quite a fierce and fiery fixture. There's been a lot of players that have got underneath the skin of certain opposition players. So we're going to look at some of the most memorable, heated player involvements and get the guys to talk about them and then pick which player has got under their skin the most. So let's look at the contenders. First up, Sol Campbell.
He says he's joined Arsenal for purely footballing reasons. By moving to Arsenal, Campbell, of course, has joined Tottenham's North London rivals.
I've made my decision now, and I'm happy. And I just hope everyone respects that decision.
Bottles thrown at the Arsenal bus were meant for one man only.
Chunkz, 2001, Sol Campbell signing from Tottenham to Arsenal on a free. That is still an iconic moment, isn't it, in the North London derby rivalry, that?
Yeah, don't remember it very thoroughly because I was 5. But growing up and now doing research about it, it's a great moment. And I feel like Sol Campbell's a good man. Very smart to make that decision.
Zuu, how would you react if... there we go, I thought you'd say that. Zuu, how would you react if one of your former captains, centre-back, signed for your rivals on a free?
On a free? Because then you can't use that excuse how he went for the money. I don't know, man. Sometimes the fans don't see what's going on behind closed doors, and I feel like it's very heart-wrenching, you know. If Stevie G went to Everton on the free, bruv, oh my days. I don't even know. He won't even be able to go to the local chippy, bruv. He'll just be mad every day, cuz.
All right, let's move on to the next player then. And this one's actually a bit of a Tottenham cult hero, I would say. Raphael van der Vaart, who had quite a few moments against Arsenal where he was annoying the Gooners, and this obviously is a famous celebration of his where he silences the away end. Absolutely loving it there, it has to be said. There's been a few other incidents, isn't there? He's obviously the double nutmeg on Jack Wilshere. But Chunkz, I want to ask you here, because from a neutral's perspective, I don't think of Van der Vaart as like this huge wind-up merchant. Is Smithy just banging on about him endlessly true? Do you actually get wound up about him?
Nah, I can't lie. I remember when the North London derbies, he used to annoy me. I want to say words that are actually not allowed to be aired on Sky, but yeah, he really used to get on my nerves. He got under my skin, and but apart from the North London derbies, he didn't really do much. So yeah, there you go.
Smithy, respond to that. Come on, he didn't really do much.
No, but it's interesting what Chunkz said. He did get under. I know a lot of fans. It was something that did get under Arsenal fans' skin. He had a lot of tweets and where he said his favourite goal was scoring against Arsenal. So it's interesting you talking about that. I mean, Spurs fans absolutely loved him because he always turned it on in the North London derby. And Chunkz, I want to take it from one player that might have got under Arsenal's fans' skin to another, Emmanuel Adebayor. Now, firstly, he had that iconic celebration. I've got to come to Chunkz soon about this. That iconic celebration against Arsenal for Man City. And then he signed for Spurs. And we've got a clip that we can show you of just one of his moments in a North London derby. Chunkz, this must have been a player that got under your skin, bearing in mind that he did that celebration for City and then signing for Tottenham.
Don't like him in the slightest. I think he's probably one of my least favourite players that used to play for Arsenal. When he ran and did that knee slide as a Man City player, oh my God, I almost broke my TV. So yeah, Adebayor, yeah, definitely probably my least favourite player. Yeah, and I almost broke. I didn't have the money to pay my dad, so I was not going to do that, was I? So, but yeah, no, Adebayor, don't like him. If I see him right now, I wouldn't even take a picture of him.
Zuu, I think this one really got under
something so much worse than that. I thought you were going to say something like
one got under his skin.
We're on Sky. We're on Sky. We're on Sky.
I mean, what did he say? He said, "I'm just a baby boy." That's what he said, isn't it?
Let's move on to the next player then. We're talking about Theo Walcott next. Now, this is a very famous image, this one, isn't it? Of him being stretchered off, but still giving the Tottenham fans the old 2-0 gesture. Smithy, we may as well come to you. You're the only Spurs fan on the call. So how did this make you feel? You must have been raging.
I thought you were going to say the only Spurs fan you know there. Yeah, that was quite a fiery game. That he obviously had quite a serious injury. That I wasn't massively. I do know, if I'm being brutally honest, I do know some Spurs fans that did get rattled by that though, because I think it was the camera position as well.
You were rattled.
I wouldn't say I was massively rattled by that particular. I mean, it's not on the level of the Sol Campbell one. Nothing's on the level of the Sol Campbell one because obviously signing for your rivals. But I do know a lot of people that were rattled by that. And like you get a lot of these where you see the shush and it's not quite picked up. I don't know if you remember that one, Joe, but that was like really picked up by all the cameras and all the images. It was like a real close up. So I think that is definitely a contender. Chunkz, you want to speak? Go on. What are your memories of that one?
Yeah, in Theo's defence, I remember that game very clearly. When he actually dropped on the floor, I think a lot of fans were like booing him and like just shouting on the corner flag or whatever in the crowd. So his response, whilst getting stretched off, was basically saying, "You guys, did you forget that it's 2-0?" So that's why I do understand Theo. I actually love him.
Okay. I've got another contender. They come thick and fast. The next one is Wojciech Szczesny. Now, I feel like this is quite similar to the Van der Vaart. There wasn't one standout moment. It was a combination of a lot of moments that he got underneath Spurs fans a little bit. This was probably the most iconic. This was after Rosicky scored to beat Tottenham 1-0 at White Hart Lane. That's the last time Arsenal have won at Spurs in the Premier League, interestingly, way back in 2014.
Just had to get that in there,
Szczesny, I felt like Szczesny was a bit of a wind-up merchant, wasn't he? And that selfie did the rounds, didn't it?
Yeah, probably one of my favourite pictures on the social medias. But yeah, I loved when Rosicky scored. I think it was like the first minute, just smashed it across goal. Great goal. And it might have been the last time we won there, but I'm sure we'll be soon. Szczesny was a great servant for the club. And loved that moment. Loved it.
Yeah, Zuu, what are your thoughts on that? From a neutral perspective, we'll get your neutral perspective on that. Taking selfies on the pitch with the fans. Are you a fan of that or not? Where'd you sit?
On the pitch, I feel like that's the biggest disrespect because the fans are just behind watching. Like, what are you going to do? Upload it! Don't upload it! You can't do nothing, boy. They're in the back doing this. Like it looks like you're celebrating.
Let's move on to the next one. Let's move on to the next one because this one also involves the fans. Obviously, Jack Wilshere, kind of a well-known troll at this time for Tottenham fans. This was the FA Cup parade. Now, we can't play the video because it's 9:40 in the morning. But this was a very famous moment, wasn't it? 2014 FA Cup final parade. Zuu, I want to come to you on this one because you didn't get to celebrate the Premier League title as a Liverpool fan.
Oh!
I'm not trying to mock it, but, what did you make of that moment? And would you have loved it if it was a Liverpool player?
I mean, that picture looks like he's at Carnival and he's spraying the best 16 bar of all time. And he's about to get a little wine. That was a funny moment. I remember that. I love seeing players have the passion for their rivalry because that's obviously sometimes we don't want people to incite hatred or violence. We don't want anything like that. But this is what football's about, people having that old school kind of rivalry. And when you see players kind of take it in their own grass out of their own time and still dig into that rivalry, just proves how much they love the club. And would I have loved to see us celebrating instead of celebrating in our own stadium on our ones? Yes. But I was saying, don't worry, we'll celebrate it this year. But yeah.
I love how Joe's managed to turn it into Liverpool as well. There we go. So you didn't ask me if that one wound me up. It didn't wound me up as much as when I interviewed Jack Wilshere and he said to me, "You've had the same haircut for 10 years." So that got me under my skin more than that incident. completely mugged me off, Wilshere. You've had the same haircut for 10 years. And this guy put that out. So thank you, Jack, for saying that. Next up is Eric Dyer. Zuu like that, didn't he? I've got a new haircut now. Let's move on. Eric Dyer did this. Eric Dyer did this. Chunkz, let's talk about this one. This was quite recently, this one, of course, as we know. 2018, Eric Dyer shushing the fans. You see what it means to the fans. You can see, I think, Lichtsteiner coming off the bench. We see Aaron Ramsey coming off in a minute as well. And it all got a bit feisty, shall we say, Chunkz, after this incident. What are your memories of this one, mate?
To be fair, I remember this one as well. This one when I had to accept that Tottenham were actually starting to become like an actual threat. Because I remember before this, like every time it was a North London derby, I was like, it's not even a derby, it's light work. Like I was more worried about the Uniteds and Chelseas and stuff. But then now, like around 2017 or maybe even 16, like just after that, is when you guys actually became a good team. So yeah, before that it was easy. Now it's a problem.
I know. Big one. Yeah, let's have a look at our final player then, Dele Alli. Now, this one was in 2018, Spurs 2-0, getting it off the fans, and he gives it straight back. This is like the reverse Theo Walcott, Smithy. You must have been delighted by this one.
I think, that incident, I think he was getting a bit of sort of unfair sort of treatment, and I think he was just showing the celebration. Theo Walcott did it. Dele Alli did it. Fair play to both of them. I thought that was a good conversation. Very quickly, Chunkz, who's the player that stands out? The one that rattled you the most?
Just the whole team.
The whole team. Okay, the whole team. There we go. Everyone just rattled in general. Let us know what you think on social as well at Sky Sports PL. Kane, yeah?
Yeah, he's just bags. He's jarring now. He scores too many goals against Arsenal.